Hi, this is Kirby Sommers, and I welcome you to the Epstein Project podcast. This is part 6 of my series on Bill Gates. And today I'm going to discuss some of the business aspects that mainstream media, again, is not paying attention to, and that I think you're going to be surprised to hear about. And before I get started, I want to thank those of you who have joined my Patreon as a result of my uh, almost daily accounts on Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein. So thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who has donated on my website. Thank you, because without that, I really can't. I'm not rich, right? And I work like 14 hours a day. So without your help, so it's a combined effort. We're in this together. Without your help, I can't do this. So, but I do want to thank you. Um, I have information about Bill Gates also getting a non-prosecution agreement. Remember that term, non-prosecution agreement, as it pertains to Jeffrey Epstein? Well, Microsoft got a non-prosecution agreement, and actually it's gotten a couple of them. So the first thing I want to remind you of, for some of you who may have forgotten, or maybe for some of you who do not know, is that I think it was in 1997 or 1998, the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against Microsoft for, you know, uh, unfair practices in business, creating a monopoly, so on and so forth. Well, quietly, in 2002, the Department of Justice and Microsoft kind of settled the case. Microsoft admitted to no wrongdoing, although the Department of Justice imposed a couple of very mild arrangements that Bill Gates and Microsoft were supposed to adhere to. Well, I was trying to do some research on that, and I came across something a lot juicier and something a lot more recent. So in 2019, which is the same year that Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, Microsoft, which has offices all around the world, right? So they're not just in the United States, they have offices everywhere, and they sell their software products everywhere in the world. So in 2019, and I almost have to brace myself to tell you this stuff. Um, Once again, the Department of Justice came up to Bill Gates, tapped him on the shoulder, and said, "Hey, we have a problem." And the problem was that employees of Microsoft in Hungary were bribing the Prime Minister of Hungary. And the Prime Minister of Hungary is, let me see, I have his name here somewhere. I'm going to see if I pronounce this. See if I can pronounce his name. So, Hung, Victor Orban. All right, Orban is not so, Orban, yeah. So Prime Minister Victor Orban. And so among the people that were being bribed into doing business with Microsoft were the Prime Minister of Hungary. And so the way the deal worked, now this should remind you of the way the Promise software created by Bill Hamilton, stolen by the Department of Justice, also sold by Israel through Robert Maxwell, the way they sold it to heads of countries all around the world. And the way that was done is they would grease the palms of the hands of the people in positions of power. And pretty much that's how the CIA operates. You know, if they go into, if you remember United Fruit, which Leon Black's father was the head of before he pushed or jumped out of the 44th window of the Pan Am building in 1975. He was the head of United Fruit, and although they disclosed, yes, he was bribing one of the South American the heads just to do business with United, but it wasn't really that. It was for drug purposes, right? So they were, and they make it sound sometimes like, oh, it's just typical to do bribes in these industries. But no, you know, a bribe is illegal, right? A bribe is illegal. If a police officer accepts a bribe, which in fact they do, it's illegal. It's corrupt. So to get back to Bill Gates, oh, and before I continue, I want to remind you, what was Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell doing with their children that they were trafficking all over the world? Yes, blackmail, right? So you do business with us. Otherwise, you know, we have a tape of you and it's going to go public. And so that's what their business was. So Bill Gates' relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, perhaps through this indiscretion of bribing officials in another country, and in fact, it was more than one country. And this was quietly settled between the Department of Justice and Microsoft. Is this part of the friendship that bloomed between Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, it kind of leaves one scratching one's head. So I am going to bounce around here because, as usual, I have my notes in many, many places. So let's see. So it was reported very quickly that in July of 2019, so that's like it was reported on July 22nd, 2019, that would be just 2 weeks after Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, that Microsoft agreed to pay a fine for bribing officials from Hungary. And I'm going to just read a little bit of this. It says, and it was in Newsweek magazine. Microsoft Corp on Monday agreed to pay a $25.3 million fine to settle charges that it bribed officials in countries like Hungary and Saudi Arabia, among others. The Department of Justice announced that Microsoft Hungary, a subsidiary of Microsoft, admits, accepts, and acknowledges wrongdoing and will pay 8.75 million in criminal fines. According to Microsoft Hungary's admissions, beginning by at least 2013 and continuing until at least 2015, a senior executive and other employees of Microsoft Hungary participated in a scheme to inflate margins in the Microsoft sales channel in connection with the sale of Microsoft software licenses to Hungarian government agencies, the Department of Justice said in a statement. So basically, what they were doing was the Microsoft Hungary executives and employees. So all of them, everyone who worked at Microsoft Hungary, for example, they were presenting false financial documents to Microsoft corporate in the United States, which basically had the wrong price. and that they needed to, they basically said that they needed these discounts to conclude the deal with the reseller, right? In order to sell the license to different government customers. So, but the fact of the matter was that they were not uh, really selling Microsoft products for the discounted price. They were in fact selling the Microsoft products for the full price, but they were using that cushion, that money that they received, as a way to then have money to bribe the Prime Minister of Hungary. So, if I can describe it again, they would bill Microsoft in the United States and say, hey, we're going to need a discount on this. So they would get a discount on the products, right? Because then the internal monies were just wrongly accounted for. They would turn around and sell the Microsoft products at full price. They would use the difference between the discount they obtained inter-office, right? So it's an inter-office fraud. They would use that money then to go back and give money to people like the Prime Minister of Hungary, and apparently they did the same thing in Saudi Arabia and and other countries. They were doing this for several years, commencing. I mean, they were only caught. It's not a matter even if they were doing it for a couple of years. They were caught doing this from 2015 to 2013. I'm sorry, from 2013 to 2015. So they caught them for 2 years doing this. And apparently, Microsoft corporate in the United States went on and fired everyone. Well, it doesn't stop there. It just doesn't stop there. Ah, okay. So the other places where, let's see, so there's Hungary, there's Saudi Arabia, there's Thailand, and there's Turkey. And they were bribing officials, top-rated officials in all of these countries in order to do business with Microsoft. All right, so what happens? On October 13, 2019, one of the Prime Minister's closest, I guess, one of his top aides in running Hungary, the mayor of a city named Gyer. I'm going to spell that for you because I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it properly. So the mayor of Gyer, which is spelled Gyor, which is Western Hungary's largest city, and his name is Zolt Borkai, Zolt, B as in boy, Orkai. So the mayor of Gyor was filmed on a yacht with a lot of girls in a, let's say, a group party where no one is wearing any clothing, if you understand what I'm saying. So he was found and taken a video of. I wonder where that video came from and who took that video. But he was taking part in a party on a yacht with his business associates. So also other officials of the government were on the yacht with these young girls. And the footage of the video was circulated on porn sites. This was reported by, let's see if I can find who reported this, and then I will tell you more about that party. Um, I mean, this was actually reported in mainstream media, which is like really, really crazy. Okay, so this was reported in the Los Angeles Times. But these things are reported once, and then nobody really pays attention. Nobody connects it to Bill Gates. Nobody connects it to Jeffrey Epstein. To me, has all the signs of what Epstein was doing with the young girls and taking videos and doing all kinds of things like that in order to have deals happen. And we already know that people like Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, the mayors and the heads of cities and states across the United States and the heads of other countries like Andres Pastrana for Colombia in South America, and on and on and on and on, that's really what he was doing. So who was behind this filming of this party on the yacht with all of the naked people? So in any event, the article was written on October 13, 2019, and it says the footage was circulated on porn websites, and it says Hungary's municipal elections appeared to catch Prime Minister Viktor Orban on the defensive as a video of one of his allies rollicking in an orgy on a luxury yacht handed an unexpected last-minute gift to the opposition. Orban, who in brief comments Sunday tried to distance himself from the scandal, can still count on the tight grip he has on the country. He has crushed civil society and controls much of the national media. How convenient, he controls much of the national media. Well, who controls the national media in the United States? Because it's really the same everywhere. We don't control the national media, do we? No. It's controlled by other forces, and by now, I think you know who I'm talking about. And so I'm going to continue. At stake now is whether the case contained him or whether he succeeded in making himself untouchable. So uh, the all right. So the guy, he basically, this guy Gior, who was caught in on the ship on the yacht with all the naked people in this party where nobody had their clothing on, even though he won the election to continue to be mayor, he stepped down. He's been a mayor apparently since 2006, and he won the election, but he decided to step down. And I'm sorry, this is just like these people are such hypocrites. They hold themselves up to be uh, such puritanical and men of good morals running countries, and in reality, they're crooks and rapists. So in any event, it goes on to say that there was additional misuse of public funds, that there was use of cocaines, and then they go on to say the word whores. So like the girls that they were partying with on the yacht, now they're labeling them this when probably they were trafficked girls, right? I mean, I think that's what we're beginning to understand with people connected to Jeffrey Epstein and the Jeffrey Epstein case. So, yeah, that's stuff that mainstream media is not discussing. It just happened. Uh, the Department of Justice decided to fine Microsoft. I mean, they're one of the wealthiest companies in the world. Bill Gates is one of the wealthiest men on the planet. So the Department of Justice continues to do deals with Microsoft. So they never have to declare whether or not they did anything wrong. They don't necessarily say they were engaged in any wrongdoing. Microsoft from the United States turned around and said, we fired everybody because, and then they issued an internal memo to let their staff know, oh, well, they were caught doing this and we fired them. And they went on to talk about their morals and their principles. Well, come on, what a load of crap. I'm sorry. I've never said that. Like, I don't even think in my life. But this is just getting out of hand. How much cover up can be covered up before people start understanding that our large corporations are run by like psychotic individuals who do business with people like Jeffrey Epstein, who is an intelligence asset, who was running a child trafficking international blackmail ring, and everybody is making themselves wealthy at the expense of the people that live in all of these countries, and that includes you and me, at the expense of our children who were lured into becoming part of a blackmail operating ring. And if they did not stay, they were threatened. Something that was never going to be exposed until July of 2019 when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested. And he thought he was going to get away with it this time too, but I guess there was just too much stuff accumulating. And in the background, Gates is trying to cover up this, plug up this hole, and plug up this hole, and plug up, as has been Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton and everyone involved. It's like Leslie Wexner too. It's cover up city. Glenn Dubin too. Scott Borgerson, who married Ghislaine Maxwell, to go ahead and hide some money. Everybody stepped down from their positions at their companies and they decided to go into hiding. Well, you can't hide because we're on to you. And yeah, maybe you can hide from mainstream media because they're complicit, but there are people like me. There are many people like me now, and I have a lot of followers who are listening every day to all of the illegal stuff that you guys are up to. My God. And the Department of State. Come on. Really? A non-prosecution agreement for Bill Gates over and over and over again? And another one for Jeffrey Epstein? And what? Ghislaine Maxwell is going to get to plea out her case based on the non-prosecution agreement? Why don't you guys stop bailing out the banks who destroy our economy and bailing out the bad guys who destroy our businesses and our livelihoods, and actually hold them accountable and put them in jail where they belong, instead of continuing to pretend that these are pillars of society, that these are philanthropists, that these are the most wonderful people on the planet. No, they're just the biggest crooks on the planet. And with that, I'm going to wish you all a really nice day. And thank you once again for tuning in to the Epstein Project podcast. This is Kirby Sommers. I'll talk to you on Twitter. All right. Have a good day. Bye.